Making it to C1 or a degree of fluency in a foreign language is not just about knowing what to do, but also convincing yourself to do it. But that's actually easier to do if you know exactly what not to do. So I've made this reverse list of 25 things to do in order to make sure that you stay at A1 or A2 in a foreign language. So if you take this list and do the exact opposite, knowing exactly what you should avoid, fluency is just a matter of time. My name's Lamont. Let's do it. Number 1 is to blame genetics and/or your circumstances. I'm not good at languages. I don't have enough time. I have kids. I don't live where anyone speaks the language. Yeah, okay, so in other words, you're a human who lives in a human situation. Sorry, I forgot. Shana chicos. Number 2, torpedo your own focus with internet notifications, mobile devices. It is extremely easy to stay at A2 in a language if you're just never allowed to sit and be with a chunk of that language because someone said something on Discord or made a new TikTok. Better get right onto that. It doesn't happen a bazillion times a day. Look, I'm not trying to lecture you, okay? I'm not exactly a monk with this stuff myself, and I'm a YouTuber, so I also contribute to the problem. Flight mode exists. Removing apps is possible. Not having a Twitter account at all is possible, and I speak from experience when I say, fantastic. Try it. Number 3, take all the things that they did or do in high schools to learn a language and repeat them. Most of them are fantastically ineffective. Did you learn all the conjugations for the verb to be in German? Yeah, so did I. Do I speak German? No. Number 4, start learning new languages whenever it takes your fancy. Okay, you don't need to be held down to one language. There are 7,000 languages in the world. You can learn one every 4 days so that you'll never speak any of them. It sounds awesome. Number 5, learn another language because someone tells you to learn that language. And in general, you should value other people's opinions about what you should do more than your own opinion. Will you even know that person in 3 to 7 years when you've learned the language? Probably not. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll be impressed anyway. Just a quick note, that also applies to me and other people on the internet and stuff. Don't learn a language because you think I'll be impressed. I won't be. I will be. I'll give you a pat on the head. That's very good. Number 6, fail once, quit forever. Did you try watching a TV series in the target language without English subtitles and you couldn't understand it?
It doesn't work.
Don't try again. Your brain will not adapt to new structures. Just go around telling everyone how this immersion stuff doesn't work. By the way, that moves us into number 7. If you want to stay bad at a language, make sure to take advice from people who have not learned a language to fluency as an adult. There are lots of adults out there who either cannot speak a second language or did not learn that second language as an adult, but will have all sorts of tips.
All right, you want some advice? Here's some advice.
You should definitely make sure to listen to those people. Number 8, don't immerse in more basic content or especially kids content because that's one of the more enjoyable ways to progress to content meant for adults. And even if you did want to watch Bluey, the best kids show ever made, in a target language, where would you even find it? I mean, okay, yes, that and thousands of hours of other good stuff might be available on public services that are free to citizens of that country, but to access that you'd need a VPN.
Did someone say VPN?
Oh, hey Surfshark. I was actually just about to tell my language learning audience about you.
Oh, cool. Surfshark speaks many languages.
When did you learn those?
While I was connected through all the different countries.
So you're saying that just being able to access stuff from other countries has a language learning benefit?
Mais oui, absolument. Not only can you access content and sometimes even languages on streaming services that had been blocked, you can sometimes even access free content that is only available within a country.
I don't know, it sounds like a lot of mucking around.
Oh, it's easy. First you download it, install it, then you choose a country, connect, and you're good to go.
Yeah, but I'd want to put it on my phone as well so that I can get audiobooks in different languages. Then there's like my wife and my son's laptop, iPads. I mean, by the time we're talking everything, it's like 5 or 6 different subscriptions.
But you don't know, Surfshark covers your whole household under une seule subscription.
Okay, that's good, but that must cost a fortune.
Wrong again. If people use the QR code on screen or the link in the description to get a discount and code Lamont, who fancy name, to get up to 4 months extra, it comes out to about the price of a coffee per month.
That does sound pretty good, but I should probably really buy a proper antivirus rather than using this one that I found in my neighbor's garbage.
No, but Surfshark also has a proper antivirus, fully integrated, and data breach alerts, and alternative AD generators, and private search, and the
All right, okay, we get it.
So use the link in the description or the QR code on screen. It's not rocket science. And speaking of rockets, I gotta get over to Houston so that someone there can watch the baseball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack.
Okay, that was weird. Anyway, number 9 is to go around telling everyone, and thus telling yourself as well, that your target language is really, really hard. That'll give your subconscious a reason to avoid it. Number 10, say that you don't have time. Because when you say you don't have time, it becomes true. I don't have time either. I've got kids. I've got stuffed animals who insist on talking to me about VPNs. But weirdly, I've had a lot of time lately to watch lots of Major League Baseball.
Seiya Suzuki!
I don't quite get how that works. Number 11, never use material made for native speakers. I'm talking movies, TV shows, books, audiobooks. They're all made by and for native speakers. You want to stay well away from that stuff. Instead, you should spend all your time looking for the best learning resources, because there are little dirty puddles of that around the place that you can kind of scoop up, rather than dipping your toe into the gross, fresh river of stuff made for native speakers.
Don't do that.
Number 12 pairs perfectly with number 11, and that is to wait until you are good at the language before you try doing anything difficult in the language. Don't try reading a book in the language. Look, you're never going to do that. Look how many words there are. You can't do that. Native speakers are born knowing all those words. That's why they are the only people who can do anything difficult like read novels in the target language. Number 13, if by some misfortune you do end up spending real time in the target language, then at least make sure not to get repeat exposure to the same pieces of material, because that is pretty much what toddlers do to get really good at their native languages. It is a horrifically efficient way to get good at the language. Don't repeat stuff. Number 14, always start tomorrow. That is the best time to start, because you can tell yourself that you're going to start tomorrow and you can actually mean it, but you never actually have to start, because tomorrow is never here. It is never tomorrow. It is only ever now. Profound, right? Number 15, apps. Use them. Use lots of them. Use them a lot. Bonus points if you can wait for an app to get the particular language that you want to learn, and bonus points if you're waiting for an app that does not even exist. Because let's face it, 2024 is not the best time in history to be learning a language. It was much easier like 100 years ago, when the world didn't have any problems at all, and you could just save up for like 2 months to send your money off somewhere random so that you could maybe get 45 minutes of French lessons on a vinyl. Number 16, speaking of technology that exists in 2024 or 2025, go around telling yourself and everyone else that this whole language learning malarkey is a complete waste of time, because the AI is coming, my friend, and when it does, no one will be impressed by anyone who has actually learned a skill the human way. Because let's face it, when machines learn to do things, everyone ceases to be impressed by humans who can still do those things. That's what happened with chess. Yeah, I think. And by the way, I'd much rather talk to the translator app in your phone than talk to you, a human person. Gross. Number 17, and again, you can avoid most of the pitfalls of this list if you just decide to avoid discomfort of any kind. Only ever do things that are easy and fun now. Number 18, never do rough drafts. Never put anything out there that is not completely ready. Never just scrap something together for a native speaker to check and get you feedback on. Don't do any of that. In fact, you can apply this to your whole life. If you're a filmmaker, don't make a short film that mightn't be that good but hones your skills. You don't want to do that. If you can't make Interstellar on the first go, just don't try.
So don't try anything.
Number 19, learn all the standard and most common things that people know in that language, even if they don't claim to speak it, and just learn to say those really well with better pronunciation so that you can correct people who just casually say that word, because nothing really cements your status as an A1 or A2 speaker of a language than correcting someone who wasn't even trying to claim to speak the language anyway. So don't learn anything more relevant to native speakers or anything like that. Just keep saying fika, but correct other people on how to say it. Number 20, make and then break promises to yourself and others which will reinforce your self-image as someone who does not follow through. I actually made one of my most difficult to make and most viewed videos worse by deciding that I was going to be a person who does follow through on what they say. It was my watching Spider-Verse 50 times video. The Spanish I speak at the end of that with Andrea is not as good as it could have been because that video was taking up all my time and energy. So I hadn't heard a single word of Spanish for weeks. And then I realized too late that I'd scheduled that call, and I considered postponing the call by a day or two while I brought my Spanish back up to speed because I wanted the video to be the best that it could be. But I also wanted to keep my meeting with Andrea because she was being generous with her time and energy, and I didn't want to be someone who said, oh, sorry, but can we do it later? So this applies much more to life than to language learning, but really to both. If you just make and break promises to yourself and to others all the time, you'll stay low level at everything always. Number 21, make mistakes and then keep making them. I don't mean language mistakes. I mean life, habit, routine mistakes. Learn what doesn't work for you and then keep trying to do that thing. For example, I've noticed that I tend not to learn much of my language if I don't do it in the morning. So I could just keep on not doing it in the morning and stay where I am, or I could learn from that and actually try and do it every morning, but then I would get better at the language. Number 22 is the flip side of that. Find something that does really work for you, a certain time of day that you do your language learning, a certain kind of content that you really like. Learn that it works for you and then don't do it again. Number 23, don't do anything that interests you in the target language. Avoid compelling input of any kind. Don't do anything that you would find fun anyway. It's all just too hard. Just keep doing apps and grammar books. Number 24 is announce more, do less. Tell everyone who'll listen, I'm going to learn Turkish. I'm going to immerse for 1,000 hours in Portuguese. But tell everyone that and never actually do it. What's great about this is that your brain gets most of the same reward from just telling people what you're going to do that it would from actually doing the thing. So you never actually have to do the thing, and you can get all that reward now, and you can get it over and over again as you tell people about all the things you're going to do. You know those people who disappear and are silent for months or maybe even years, and then they come out with something amazing, a song, an album, a book, a movie? They are quiet about that for a reason. And last but not least, number 25, wait until conditions are perfect. Wait until you've got time off work. Wait until there's a rainy day and you've got nothing else to do. Or until the perfect app comes along. Or until you've moved to the country, because you can definitely not access that country virtually. And there's always a time that only exists in your mind when it's going to be completely perfect for you to learn a language. But that time never actually arrives. So let's quickfire take all 25 of those, go through the exact opposite, and what you would get is, I'm going to read them so that we go fast. 1, ignore your genetics and circumstances. This is the best time to learn a language that there has ever been in history, right now. Think about that. 2, develop your focus. Meditate. Work on your ability to focus on one thing. Yes, it is a skill that can be trained. 3, don't repeat the mistakes that were made in the classroom with grammar tables and verb conjugations. Spend more time with the language. 4, stick to one language no matter how tempting other languages are. You can learn another language if you want to learn that language, but don't just start learning another language because you heard it was cool or something. And that's number 5. Learn the language you want to learn because you want to learn it. Wanting to learn it is a good enough reason to learn it. Number 6, don't expect anything to work straight away. Give things a proper amount of time. It is a slow process. Number 7, ignore the advice of anyone who hasn't learned a language as an adult. And in case you're wondering, yes, I do speak Swedish quite fluently, and I started learning it as a 30-year-old. Number 8, immerse in basic content or even things meant for children. It can be really good fun, and you'll have an easier time with Surfshark VPN, link in the description. Number 9, tell yourself that your language is easy, and it will be easy because you'll spend so much time learning it that it will be easy. Number 10, prioritize language learning and make time for it, and then amazingly, you will have that time. Number 11, don't worry too much about finding the right kind of content. The content you choose is the right kind of content. Number 12, get good at the language by doing things that are difficult in it. Read books, learn the words in them, and then the words in that book will not be so difficult and you can read more books. Number 13, get repeat exposure. Listen to the same thing so many times that you know it by heart, that you can recite it. 14, start today. In 90 seconds, this video will be finished. Now is the only time that truly exists. Do it. Number 15, by all means use apps to get started, but move on from those apps and supplement them with so much other stuff that you realize realize the app isn't needed. Number 16, don't rely on AI or any other technology that isn't that great yet anyway. No one will be impressed if you use some kind of future technology that everyone will have access to then anyway. People are only ever interested in what you can do with your human skills. Number 17, get uncomfortable. Do things that are hard so much that they become easy. Number 18, make rough drafts. Write something in the language that you know is terrible and have a native speaker check it. Record a video that you know sucks, have a native speaker check it, do it again, write more, etc. Number 19, learn things outside of the standard thing. Learn conversation openers that only native speakers use, slang words that only they use, impressive enough that native speakers will respond in the language, all that kind of stuff. Don't just learn the standard things. Number 20, keep promises to yourself and others. If you book lessons, take them. Be a reliable person. It affects how others see you, but more importantly, how you see yourself. Number 21, make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes. If you realize that a certain thing doesn't work for you, a certain time of day or whatever, stop trying to do that and find a time that does. Number 22, do the opposite. When you find something that works for you, find ways to do it as often as possible. Number 23, do things that interest you in the target language. Watch videos that you would want to watch anyway. Read things that you would want to read. 24, talk less, do more. Don't tell people you're going to do stuff. Do the stuff and then tell people that you've done it. And number 25, start now, regardless of conditions. Conditions will never be perfect. So in 3 seconds after you've hit subscribe, go and learn your target language. Lo quiero. Y mira detrás de usted.